Hi guys, welcome to the bench. We've been looking at this transformer I made a few days ago, and I have been seeing some very interesting properties with it in its performance and its very strong ability for the outer windings to couple to the inner windings. I've tried 5 or 6 different transformers under the same conditions, the same test bed, and none of them perform like this one. So there's been a few people that want to replicate it, so I'm trying to come up with an easy way you can do this, and a fair bit cheaper. And I came up with this idea, and it turns out that Pico also came up with the same idea of using a pot core and just a ferrite toroid. So the plan was to wind the toroid with one single winding and place it in the pot core like so, close the pot core up, and then put our second winding around the outside of the pot core, and then we basically have that, but we have a better core material around the outside. First problem is with this little tiny pot core we got here, which unfortunately is all I can get at our electronics store. They don't have the bigger ones. I can't find a toroid core the right size. That fits in there very neat, but there's no room left for the wires, and of course all the other ones didn't fit, either too small, too big. Now I just so happened to find a brownie coloured one, same size as this, but the brown was like a plastic. So I decided to grind the plastic off to see what was underneath it, and this was what was in there. Now this, you probably can't see that, but that is actually a roll of very thin met glass, which is right there, and it is very thin, very magnetic, as you can see. But the other problem is that it is also very brittle, and once I ground the plastic off, it started to want to unwind. So I carefully super glued the end together somewhere here, there. Oh. And now the problem I have is a very sharp corner on the side, so I've left the plastic ring in the middle. It's actually glued to the first wind, so if I take it out it wants to spiral the winds out as well. But now the plastic removed, that gives us enough room to get a decent winding around it, and it will indeed fit inside that pot core quite nicely. So what I'm going to do to get rid of these sharp edges, because we don't really have any room to put any insulation tape or anything around it, I'm actually just going to dip this in timber varnish and let it dry to stop the wires cutting on the corners. So we'll see how that goes. I might have to put 2 coats on it, I'm not sure. But that's the plan with this. We're going to try and make a real small one. That'll be good for a dual feed or a dual ringer. I did wire this up as a dual feed, and it worked very well on 1.5 volts, even down as low as 0.9. So that one works. Hopefully this one's going to as well, and we'll see how close we can get to laser savers efficiencies with this little number with a transformer in this configuration, because I believe there is really something in that. So much current is still being delivered out of the internal secondaries when the primary is switching off, and that current continues to flow until the next pulse. So in the centre of that, the magnetic fields are very strong and taking a very long time to dissipate. Well, they actually don't altogether before it pulses again right down to, well, you've seen in previous videos, down to a 10% duty cycle, no problem at all, driving an incandescent bulb. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to dip that in the varnish, let it dry, see if we can get rid of those sharp edges so we don't cut our wire, and then we're going to put it all together and see how we go with that. So we're going to have the, pretty much the best of the best this time. Instead of the old soft steel putty, we're going to have a met glass inner core and a ferrite outer core. If you're going to do this, I would probably see if you can find yourself the bigger size spot cores. That way you're going to have more of a chance to find a ferrite toroid that's going to fit in there correctly and give you enough room to get some a layer of wire wrapped around it, which we will now have with that one. So this is all this is going to be for this video. This is just explaining what we're going to try and attempt here, and our next video will be hopefully it up and running as either a dual Feith or a dual ringer or some sort of circuit. We'll have to have a look, see what's out there. But yeah, that was a lucky find, I guess. But that met glass is very delicate and very hard to work with. So once I dip it in the varnish, it should make it a little more robust for us. Alright guys, so yeah, we'll see you next video, and we'll see if this is actually going to work. Cheers from the Thin Man.